All right, one of the challenges that I've run into occasionally, I have to convert frequency data back to the original values that I'm working with. And this isn't something that's necessarily easy to do in Excel. At least I haven't found an easy way to do it. So I'm going to show you the workaround that I use in Excel to make this happen. Here's an example of a set of numbers and then a frequency of each of these numbers. And so I want to have the number 2 and I want it to be listed 4 times. I want to have the number 6 listed 25 times, etc. The first thing I'm going to do is I'll just take my entire frequency table, come down to the bottom here and look for your maximum number. If it doesn't show your maximum down here, right click on it and select maximum. That's how many cells we're going to have to make over here. And then I'm just going to include index numbers over here that run up to the number 29 because that's my maximum number here. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an if statement, and with the if statement my primary goal is to repeat the number 2 4 times and then stop and put something else in there that can either be a placeholder or can be deleted or whatever. So in this case I'm going to go ahead and do an if, and I'm going to say if this number is less than or equal to this number. Now I need to put a $sign in front of the B. The easiest way to do that is hit F4 a couple of times so that it shows a $sign in front of the B but not in front of the 2. I should also do the same thing over here, except in this case I want to put it in front of the 1 because this way when I fill down it'll keep it locked into the top here. As I fill over, it'll keep this locked in. If you're running into issues with that, review the properties of cell locking. So if C1 is less than or equal to B2, I want it to return this. And again, I'm going to lock the column on this. Otherwise, put something else. And in this case, you could put a 0, you could put something that you can filter out when you're all done with it here. You can even put text if you want. In this case, I'll just put filter out. It doesn't really matter what you put here, but this will help you track. Alright, so if I did this correctly, as I drag over, you'll notice that after I get past 4 here, it's going to start saying filter out. So I should have 4 of these. Count 4, so far so good. Now all I'm going to do is fill over until I get to the last cell here, and I'm going to fill down. Alright, you should be able to tell right where I ran out the bottom here. Alright, so we're left with this big block of data now that includes some stuff that I would like to use, and it also includes a bunch of stuff that I don't like to use. The next step that I'm going to use is I'm going to make a simple macro. All it's going to do is copy and paste all of this into one column, and I'll go ahead and do that to the next page here. So I'm going to start at the top here, view, and then macros. In this case, I want to use relative references because I want it to go through the process of selecting a row and then moving to the next row and doing the same thing and just kind of looping that process here. So I'm going to click on use relative reference, and then I'm going to record macro. I like to do an easy shortcut key, usually something that I can reach with my right hand. So I'm going to do Control-Shift-C. Now one thing to keep in mind is that when you're making the shortcut key, you just hold down the shift key and hit C. But when you actually run the macro, you want to hit Control-Shift-C. All right. Now all I'm going to do is select to the right. Shortcut for that is hold down the Control and the Shift key and then arrow to the right, or you can just select to the right like this. Either way is going to get the same process going on. I'm going to copy that. You can either Control page down or just click on the other sheet. And on this one, I'm going to paste special. I'm actually going to go through the menu because I have had, when I click on one of these shortcut paste specials, I have had some strange things happen with macros. In this case, I'm going to paste the values and I'm going to transpose it because I'm interested in the actual transposed data here. So I do that. All right, now here's another reason that I use the relative reference on the macro. I am going to come down and select the next blank cell down here because this is where I want to make my next paste. I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to select the next cell that's going to be my starting point for my copy. You have to be very careful with relative references that you follow an ordered pattern with this. Always start your macro on the first cell that you're planning to use and end your macro on the next relative cell that you're going to use. Otherwise, bad things will happen, I promise you. And I don't have time to get into the details of all the bad things that can happen. Assuming I did it correctly, I can hit stop recording. If I wanted to, I could come into the view macros and actually do a quick loop. Do until active cell equals blank, and then I could come in and do a loop at the bottom. If I do that, it's going to run the whole thing and I can just kind of sit back and wait for it. In this case, we're only doing a few of them, so we're not going to worry about that. I'm here on the cell that I want to be on. Hold down Control and Shift. I'm going to hit C. C again, C again. Oops, accidentally I hit another button here. Apparently I'm doing a screen draw here. It's one of the challenges of running this with the recorder going on at the same time. And on this page I have all of this data with a bunch of filter out stuff here. Now, just like it says, I'm going to filter it out. So I'm going to come to data, I'm going to filter, and I'm going to just deselect the filter out. It looks good. Notice we're missing some cells here because those are the ones that have been filtered out. Normally I'll just copy that, paste it over to the side, take my filter off, and then delete my original data set that I have sitting here. And if I did it correctly, I should have the same number of numbers here that I did for the frequency of them. And then you can manipulate those numbers in any way that you want to after that point. I hope that you found this interesting, and I hope that it helps you to do what it is that you want to do with converting frequency data back to numeric data.